And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
All right, here we are, Joshua Thompson. I got a question for you. What do you get when you put 1, 2, and 3 together? Talk to me, brother. What do you get?
The first three numbers you teach
Oh,
your kids?
my God. Are you dumb, man? I can't believe that. Because he could have said 6, anything like that. No, you get the newest edition number 123 of the Weighing In podcast. We have got fights to talk about. We have controversy to talk about. We got so much. They give us this stuff. It's amazing that they make our lives so easy.
This is the easiest thing I think you could ever do for a job. This is absolutely amazing. Like, I just love just sitting around, just nerding out. I mean, hey guys, if I look tired like I normally look tired, but if I look tired, I just drove 18 hours actually from North Idaho all the way down here. Jeez, just so we could film today and drop this bad boy in a little bit.
And you were still late.
Yeah.
I'm still late. I was on time.
It's totally late, man. We should have been doing this.
I was thinking I was going to be done like at 1 o'clock. I thought I was going to get back at like 1. Because they were, all the reports said there's going to be tons of snow. No snow. Thank goodness.
Snow at all.
No snow at all. I mean, we got snow when I was up there. A lot of snow.
It's all in Texas.
Jeez, man. Brutal. So brutal. Jeez, I wonder how many of those Californians that moved there and bought houses are trying to sell now.
Hey, congratulations also. Congratulations to you. You are the new hide and seek champion. You found
Yes,
Sasquatch.
I am. I found Sasquatch, that
nice.
son of a bitch. Oh, yeah. Someone said, hey, you said that's a Yeti. I said, how the hell would you know what a Yeti looks like? You never seen one, bitch. Oh, man. Anyways, yeah, it was great. I found him. He was out in the back, and hey, man, he's kind of stuck, though. I think he got froze a little bit. But I think he thought we were
frozen there.
He thought we were playing freeze tag. So
there you go.
Oh man, it was great. Yeah, it was good, beautiful up there. Nice to see Trevor Prangley.
Oh, that's a good thing. Let me ask you this: what's the one thing that Sasquatch or Yeti is afraid of?
Humans?
No, Derrick the Beast Lewis, because he's a bad mother bringer, man.
Jeez,
I told you that dude is just, man. I tweeted before the fight. I said something about, man, I know Curtis Blaydes is the favorite, but
yeah,
you know what? Derrick Lewis is a throwback. He's a throwback in MMA. This is a guy, man. He's strong. He's fast. He's tough. And man, when he hits you, it just changes your entire aspect of life.
Yeah.
And you saw that with one punch.
It was nasty, John.
Oh.
It was I was like, because the very first shot I saw of it was his back was to us. He just hit the uppercut from the way that it was filmed.
Yeah, the camera
angle was that way. So when I was like, is he out? Oh shit, he's out.
He freaking stiffened as soon as he got touched. You could see, man. It was like, I went, oh, he's out. And he was, then he's falling. But yeah, I mean, just power, because he didn't hit him clean.
No,
he didn't hit him real clean. He just, the whole thing, there was his fist, the forearm, everything coming up. It was just nasty.
John, I was actually really surprised.
I'm surprised.
Surprised. Oh man, what did the janitors say to the broom as he came out of the closet? Supplies. Oh,
Supplies.
Anyways, really bad sense of humor. Curtis Blaydes, to me though, I thought he looked fabulous up until that moment. He was touching Derrick Lewis on the chin. He got a little overconfident, I think, but I thought it was all a good setup to potentially getting more takedowns. But look, last week, this is the biggest thing that I want to take away from, and I want to pat myself on the back a little bit, is I basically said, like, look, Derrick Lewis figured something out after his loss to DC or to anybody else where he was just getting winded. And you could see the difference in his performances, his last 2 performances since then. His conditioning's gotten better. His ability to stop the takedown was fabulous. In the first round, he was able to stuff that single leg, get his leg back, get away from the fence. I thought he looked fast, explosive. He didn't look gassed out after the first 2 minutes like he normally used to back in the day. He looked good. I mean, he's got to do something about how he slips quite a bit on his footing. You know, so he's got to, I don't know if it's something they got to put on the canvas.
First off, his balance and his legs, he's splaying his legs at times, and he's swinging so hard.
That's true.
I mean, it's like there's a whole lot of velocity going that way. It's going to make your feet slip a little bit the way he's doing things. He still has a long ways to come.
Yeah,
as far as honing things in, making them cleaner, just being a little bit sharper and not so reliant on just explosive dynamite type power.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to try to hit people hard. He's just gonna.
It just comes so naturally. It seems like it's so easy for him. And for someone that's that big, he's so explosive. Like the way he just dropped his hips and came up with that uppercut, boom. And then, like you said, it didn't land clean, but it landed clean enough to put lights out on Curtis Blaydes. I was like, oh man. But this
was fighting beautifully.
He was.
Man, he looked great.
Yeah. I think there was no setup coming into that takedown. There was no punches going into it. He should have struck his way in because he was having success in the first round of landing like some clean, hard shots. And so from that, I'm kind of always against fighters that dip down. That's exactly how I lost to Pitbull, to Patricky. Yeah. There was really no setup. It was like just a fake little jab and then a shot and takedown. A lot of that time of doing that is gone. You've got to do everything in a chain wrestling type position. I think that's what makes Khabib so special. Guys like Khabib so special is that with Curtis Blaydes, he's got to punch his way in, make them think they're standing, and then get in on the takedown. In that scenario where he got clipped, I think Derrick Lewis just saw it coming from a mile away. He was able to drop his hips and come up with the uppercut. Beautifully done. It was just a great display by him on not just the takedown defense. His conditioning seemed like it was on point. He took some shots, never let it bother him, kept coming forward. It was very patient, waited for the right opportunity in the right time. But he was explosive the whole time, the whole fight, not just 1 minute of every round and hoping to get the knockout. And that's what we've seen from him before in the past. The Volkov fight, he was gassed out in the first 2 minutes of the fight, and
he's
then
throwing so hard.
Yeah, and then he just took almost the whole round off and then exploded. Almost round off and then exploded. Luckily for him in that fight, it worked out. But this fight, you could tell in his last couple fights, he looked like his conditioning has gotten a lot better, and you could see that his takedown defense has gotten a lot better. I'm happy for him because, man, Mr. My Balls Are Hot is so fun to watch. I love it. I love me some Derrick Lewis, baby.
Did you hear him say
he's fun?
He said that the Texas is facing that freeze right now because he left and his hot balls are with him in Vegas.
Hey, he might be right.
Man, this is great. The whole week he was gone.
He is when I talk about him, he's the throwback. I look at this guy, and like I said, he's fast, super fast for a big guy.
Yeah.
His hand speed is impressive. Now, his foot speed is not, but he'll throw kicks at times, and you go, damn, that got up there pretty quick.
Yeah.
That was kind of nice. He's ungodly strong, and that's the one thing that when I was in the cage with him, you could watch him do something, you go, all right, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part is he never had any martial arts training before he decided I'm going to be an MMA fighter. This is a guy who didn't wrestle, did not box, did not do any traditional martial arts. He says, I need to take care of my family. I'm going to fight. And so that's why I say he's like the throwback, because we had those kind of guys in the early days of MMA, and some of them turned out to be incredibly tough people and hard to deal with. And he's doing it with an even more complex system, more well-rounded fighters, guys that are better athletes. He's just fun.
Yeah.
He's the guy, he's the outlier in the heavyweight division because you know what you're getting. You know what he can do. You're just never sure when it's going to happen, if it does, or if the other fighter's going to be smart enough to be able to stay away from that danger and get into him. I think DC caught him at the right time when he had a championship fight, and people are talking about, they should put Derrick Lewis into a championship fight finally. It's like, he had one.
Yeah.
He had one against DC. But like you said, at the time, I don't think he was taking the sport as serious as he is at this moment. I think he sees his opportunity, and he knows he's got one fight left on his contract. He wants to get paid more money. Don't blame him for that. That kind of performance, That gets you more money.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, like, I tune in to watch that guy every single time. Not just his energy, his personality. It really wants me to be a fan. Like, I had to tune in just to listen to his post-fight interviews and listen to him talk. You know, I mean, like, honestly, when people talk about big teddy bears, that's really what when you're talking about someone just a big teddy bear, just someone that you just love to want to follow, you know, and get to know what they're doing in their career. He's that guy. And I love it, man. I love everything about it. What does this say, though, that about the heavyweight division and where it's at right now, knowing that, like, he had no martial arts training before, he had no boxing training before? Like, what does that say about where it is right now? Because we went through a stint where guys had came up in the sport from the time they were a little bit younger, guys that had really good wrestling, from Randy Couture to Daniel Cormier to, you know, Stipe's got good wrestling, he's got good boxing. You know, a lot of these guys have been training for a long time. This guy comes up off the couch basically and says, you know what, I want to try that out. And he's been doing it now, what they say, for 18 fights, 19 fights or something like that. I mean,
well, he's 32 fights.
Oh, no, but I'm saying 19 fights in the UFC. I think it's
UFC.
Yeah, it's like 18 or 19 fights in the UFC, I think, is what they were talking about last night.
Well, the thing to look at is this, and this, you know, our last podcast, you know, we were talking about it, and I said, you know, obviously Blaydes he's talented, but if you take a look at his two losses, they came to a guy named Francis Ngannou, and power changes everything, and Derrick Lewis has that same type of power. It's unfortunate that when we put Derrick Lewis and Francis Ngannou in the same cage, it was a horrible fight because they were so careful of each other. But this is where, in the heavyweight division, I do believe someone like a Curtis Blaydes, he's going to be here for a long time. His wrestling is outstanding. And his stand-up looks so good. There was times Derrick Lewis was biting on the feints that Curtis Blaydes was utilizing, and then he was countering off of that movement and landing good shots. He landed some hard shots on Derrick Lewis. That first round, he looked just outstanding with everything he was doing. He was controlling the range. He was doing everything that he wanted to do. He was backing Derrick up. Looked great. But in the heavyweight division, it only takes one.
Blink of an eye.
Blink of an eye. Just what you just saw in that uppercut, you know, it was just monstrous. And it was exactly like you said. That was Derrick waiting and setting Curtis up, waiting for him to drop his head level and to bring that. You know, he trained for it. You know, he was looking for it. He saw it at the right time and was able to deliver that shot. That's the best part. When people talk about heavyweights, that's what makes them special at times, when you're saying, yeah, but they're not as good as the lightweights or the welterweights. No, they're not. They're not as talented in a multitude of areas, but they can definitely be exciting when they deliver on what they can do.
Yeah. Okay, so can you go to the heavyweight division for me? Okay, so you have, they have not quite signed John Jones to be the next guy. They've said that he is, but John Jones has come out and said, he's like, I haven't signed anything yet, you know? And so I don't know what the deal is and what's going on, but I mean, obviously he can. It'll happen. But where does that put him then? Derrick Lewis puts him, he just beat Curtis Blaydes, but I'm surprised they haven't made the Rosenstruck fight and Derrick Lewis fight yet. And I know he's fighting Cyril Gane this weekend.
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name?
Coming up.
Cyril Gane?
Gane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fight, but the winner of that, I would imagine maybe fighting Derrick Lewis if John Jones gets inserted into that title talk after the Stipe and Ngannou fight. I mean, I would love to see that fight. I actually want to see Rosenstruck and Derrick Lewis. That's the fight I want to see. But Cyril Gane, to me, like, I feel like there's I don't want to say he's too athletic, because Curtis Blaydes just proved that it doesn't matter how athletic you are. If I touch you, you're going to sleep. Derrick Lewis can put you to sleep. I'm excited. I'm amped up. I'm amped up because, honestly, now that the heavyweight division is kind of getting that John Jones insertion there, it makes it fun. It was getting a little stagnant there for a while. It was just, I feel like, and I had this conversation like 2-3 weeks ago. Now with Derrick Lewis, you've got Rosenstruck, you've got Curtis Blaydes is now probably going to drop down, obviously, but him and Volkov and those guys and Alistair, but Cyril Gane going up to Rosenstruck, that whole new mix of guys now, the turning of the tides of the younger generation coming in, got me a little bit more amped up. You got me a little amped up. Big John, I'm kind of getting a little more pumped for those.
Baby,
at least those top 4 guys, 5 guys. You know, in that top 5. That's kind of where we're at. I think in a lot of promotions, you get the top 5 guys, and it starts getting a little diluted down below there until one just sticks out and catapults themselves into that top 5. But I'm glad to see some new blood up there at the top, and really kind of, you know, and making some changes. To me, I feel like Derrick Lewis made some changes after the DC fight. He realized, hey, look, I can do this. I really can do this. It took a 2-time Olympian to wrestle fuck me to death. Basically, was what DC did. He's like, I ain't getting it, that guy, to beat me, and that's all. He's like, that's all it took. It took him to do that.
Yeah. So if that doesn't work, I could have had that title.
Could have.
If I could have stopped what that guy does, I could have. That fight was mine.
Yeah, I was impressed with his takedown defense last night. The way he was able to stop that takedown, I was like, "Oh shit!" But the last thing,
especially when Blaydes got his leg up on that one and actually started to treetop it looked like, but and gave up on it because he realized I don't have this, and that's just that strength factor.
Well, it's not only that, but then you had brought up the kicks also. He threw a couple kicks last night that were at least shoulder height.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that when he tried to treetop him, he couldn't get him down, that means Derrick Lewis got a little bit of flexibility in them hips, big boy.
Yes, he does.
Oh, man. But the one thing I was the most impressed by through everything, if you watched the little lead up to the fight, was how his big ass fits in a Lamborghini. That's the thing I was the most impressed by. How do you get your big ass in the Lamborghini?
First off, it may fit in there, but it does not fit comfortably.
I wonder if they took the seat out and they just have him sitting like in what they consider the back seat. You know, stuff. It just made me think as I was watching the Michael Strahan with Jay Glazer and Strahan for his Hall of Fame induction and all this stuff. And apparently when he was 17 years old or 18 years old, he left off to go to school at Southern Texas, I think is what it was. And he had told his mom he wanted this car. Michael Strahan was telling his mom, I want this car. She's like, well, you better go down there and take a look at it. He's like, oh, no, Mom, I don't need to look at it. I want this car, because he hadn't seen it yet. So he saved up some of the money. They gave him the other half of the money. They bought the car. He went down there, and it was one of those little Geo Metros.
Oh,
he
my
had
God.
never seen it. He's like, I can't fit in it. She's like, I told you to go down there. She'd be able to take that seat out and just drive from the back seat. Apparently, that's what he did. Apparently, that's what he had to do. And so
I can tell you I've had that problem. I went to California, you know, in the last part there, January into February, and it was like, I go to the rental car thing, and they give me a nice car, really nice car, and I go to get in, and I said, yeah, this ain't gonna work. I said, excuse me, I need a different car. Well, what's wrong with it? And I said, I don't fit. Yeah. Dude, first off, my neck doesn't bend, and I could not. They put the seat all the way back, they lowered it down. It was still like, nope, you don't fit. Yeah, it sucks.
You must have a hard time with some of the newer cars because a lot of them had that sunroof, and that takes away about a good 3 or 4 inches.
Yeah, it does.
Easily.
Your head is rubbing the top. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. Now they got the seats to go up and down, but sometimes they don't go down far enough. Yep. Yeah, because I got a couple friends that are about 6'6", 6'7", and
that's why you drive a truck.
Yeah, this is true.
Comfort.
Overall, though, I thought it was a good performance by both fighters. I know it didn't work out for Curtis Blaydes, but I was impressed. He showed Derrick Lewis no respect, tried to do what he could do to get him down. He couldn't get him down, but I had him win in the first round with just the exchanges on the feet. It was close, but I had him win in the first round. He landed the better shots. Like you said, he had him flinching. He had Derrick Lewis going the up-down thing, like not knowing what to do. And when you get someone biting like that, you know, it lets you know that they're going to have problems with you the rest of the time. Derrick was just able to time that uppercut, and it was beautiful. Nicely done by him. And we'll see what happens and what's next for him. We'll see where John Jones ends up in that whole mix as well, and if that puts him right in that title shot again. You know, if John doesn't sign.
You got John Jones now. He's doing his lifting and stuff and showing all these impressive numbers. It doesn't really equate out to fighting. It doesn't equate out to being able to move somebody. But John Jones has still got to look at someone like Derrick Lewis and go, God damn, man, that dude hits hard. There's no light heavyweight that's ever hit like that.
No.
So, you know, you need to be careful, man. You gotta be smart in these fights, but it'll be fun. Put John in that mix. That's fun.
He looks as fast and as explosive as someone, like, I think more so than Dominic Reyes, and maybe not as much as Santos, but Dominic Reyes and some
he's
of those
not as
other
fast
guys.
as Santos, but he's fast. And I would say he's every bit as fast as John Jones is.
That's a scary thought.
Oof.
A scary thought. Real scary.
Yep.
Okay, so who else? Let's see what else.
Oh no, let's go to the co-main because you wanted to talk about it.
I did want to talk about this.
Come on, baby.
I mean, realistically, how do you say her name? Kunitskaya. Kunitskaya?
Yeah, just say Yana.
Yana. Okay, so
Kunitskaya.
So Yana.
Yeah, there you go. See,
okay. So to me, I had Vieira winning, but here's the thing: is I'm not splitting hairs over. I'm just splitting hairs over. I don't care.
Yes.
It really just comes down to the fact that I had Vieira winning because look, there's two things that I want people to understand. There's two positions that people should understand that refs very rarely, if ever, will stand you up from, and that is mount and the back, because those are finishing positions. Sure, side control is finishing position, but we know that's not really a whole lot. People don't really attack from side control. They'd rather control the position, to do damage, not submission. Half guard, they'll hit the Darce and the Anacondas and those positions from there. But guess what? That's kind of in Japanese necktie. But there's not a whole lot of other finishing positions there. That's not really considered the finish position like the back and the mount. That being said, that's why I gave the fight to Vieira, because you're saying, yeah, it's just a position is what the word is. The word in there is just a position if you're not doing damage to strike and you're trying to finish fight and you're not trying to finish the fight
with a submission.
But in that, I feel like there's a little bit of leeway in terms of a ref will not stand you up because it is a finishing position, and that means that there should be a little bit more emphasis on it being a dominant position, that I am controlling every part of this fight. Side control, person can wiggle, get out, do all those things. The back and the mount is a little bit different, where I can tap you without taking a whole lot of damage either. I'm not taking these little pitter patter shots are no different than me being in your guard going body, head. So I had Vieira winning slightly, but okay. I can see when you and I were talking off air, I understand where you're coming from. I do, but I had Vieira winning because of the back position.
The whole thing comes down to this. I want you to take a look and figure it out this way. When we're teaching judging and we're teaching, referees, when it comes to the ground, it's hard for some people to figure things out, but you're looking at the ground and saying, all right, let's put people in guard. So in guard, you are in my guard. You're in the top position. Who's got the advantage?
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to striking, you do. You have gravity that works for you. But if it comes to submission, I do. Because I have a multitude of submissions that I can go after. Really, the only thing you can even contemplate going after from there is you can go back for a leg. You can try to get it, an ankle lock. You can try to get a heel hook or something like that. But you just don't have a whole lot of submissions available to you if you are in my guard. And your ability to get there is going to be difficult depending upon where I put my legs and what I do. But we're talking about a 50-50 position, basically. It's even in the fight. Yep. The guy on the bottom, he can get hit hard. Yep. The guy that's in the up position, he can get submitted. So we go 50-50. It goes past that, goes into half guard. We talk about it's like 60-40 for the guy on top, because a lot of those submissions that were available to me with you in my guard, they're gone. I can't do the same arm bars. I can't do the triangle chokes. It's gone. So now the odds have turned. Go to side control, about 70-30. Go to mount, you're talking, you're in that 85-15 range, unless you're fighting Olenek, who's great with Ezekiel choke while he's mounted. There's really nothing the guy underneath can do. So now you get to the back. We talk two positions of the back where you have my back and my face is straight up. Okay. That's about a 90-10. You go and you put me face down and you have my back 95-5. And it's really, I have no offense, zero. But these are all positions and positional changes. It's not so much the position. In jiu-jitsu, if you take me down, you get 2 points, right? And then if you pass my guard and you get to that side control position, you now get 3. And then you get mount. You have 4 points for that. So now out of all of this, you have 9 points. It's 9-0 because you got to mount. Now you take my back, It's another 4 points. It's 13-0. It's not a jiu-jitsu contest. It's not a wrestling match. It's a fight. And long ago, we basically came up with a concept, and it was based off of the UFC and one of the tough shows that we had people that were trying to control the fight with grappling, control it with wrestling, because they knew that the person they were fighting was better on the feet. And if I can just keep you down here, I don't have to do a whole lot. And the judges are going to give me this win because I have the better position. So if you look at the criteria for judging, the first one, number one that they look at, can you say who in the striking or grappling aspect did better? Okay, now it's clear that Vieira did better in the grappling aspect in the third round. And it's clear that Yana did better in the striking. She landed way more strikes, even though a lot of them are not effective. It's just, touching or volume, if you want to call it. But you take a look and say, okay, what took place more? Well, it was actually the grappling. Like you're saying, the grappling of her having position. So then we look and say, okay, did we have damage? Yes, we did. We had some damage at the end of the fight when she landed good elbows, landed 3 of them. The cut, that's just a cleanly landed strike, we'll say, in the fact that it cut her. But the 3 elbows, they hurt. They were good, strong elbows. She was lighting her up there at the very end. So what was the most effective thing that happened in the round? Was it what Vieira was doing when she gets her back and she basically just holds on? She's controlling. The last thing that you look at in the judging criteria, because you'll go from striking and grappling, and if that's completely even, you'll go to aggression. Who was more aggressive in the fight in the third round? Was it Vieira being more aggressive, or was it Yana being more aggressive? It was Yana. She was the one at least trying to fight. And then you look at the last thing, and that is ring or cage control, or the UFC would say octagon control. That's the last thing. If those other things are all even, they weren't even. What was the most effective element that happened in the fight? The judges got it right that if Yana had not gotten that last, we'll say 15 seconds, I doubt the judges would have gone with Vieira, would have gone with Yana. They would have gone with Vieira. But they saw the last 15 seconds. That was enough for them to say, I have someone trying to end the fight instead of someone trying to control the fight. In that trying to end the fight, she did more damage in those 15 seconds than what Vieira was able to do in 4 minutes. It's not about the amount of time that you control someone. It's about you trying to finish the fight. And that's what Yana was trying to do. And that's why she got the win.
You said that she was continuing.
Boy, that was long. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was. You lost me on all the percentage talk. No, when you start spitting out numbers, I'm like, math, no.
Oh, no.
No, I'm kidding. She was fight. She continued to fight because she was in the shittier position. So the argument we made is that, of course, she had to get out of that. She had to fight harder to get out of there. When Vieira worked harder to get to that position, she's on her back. She did all the work already. She didn't need to do anything else. She needed to get there
yes,
and then
she did. That was the problem. If she had done more,
she
did do more, she would have won the fight. But her problem was she just controlled.
John, yelling over me doesn't make you more right.
Yes, it does.
It does not. No, I'm just saying that, like, look, she did all the work to get to the back, which is a finishing position. So I can look, like I said, in the beginning of this conversation, I don't care who wins. Okay, I thought it was a good fight back and forth. I had Vieira winning based on the fact that she did all the hard work to get to the back in the third round. It came down to the third round. She got to the back. She had already done all the technical work to get there. Now, don't get me wrong. I agree with you. She needed to do more effort, to put more effort into trying to get a rear naked choke. But I teach, or I train this or coach this with all the guys that I work with, fighters. And I say, look, if you're on the back, we are not trying to hit arm bars from this position. We are not trying to do anything else except rear naked.
End of the round, maybe.
Yeah, we're not trying to do anything but just a rear naked choke from here. We are not giving this position up for anything.
I agree.
And so I can agree that she needed to attack the neck more, which she did not do. But like I said, she did all the work to get there. You're saying that Yana she fought harder. Yeah, she fought harder because she was in a shittier position. You need to fight harder to get out of that position. That's the point of, I did all my work to get there. Now it's your turn to get out of this position. Otherwise, I could potentially sub you or a ref could stop it or whatever it is. But I'm winning this fight because I did all the work to get there. So as a fighter, I'm thinking, for me, I would have attacked a lot more. I agree. But for her and for a ref and a judge, I'm like, hey, this is a finishing position that a ref will never stand me up for because it is such a dominant finishing position. That is way more effective than this. Than like these little tiny body headshots.
Totally agree.
Okay.
Hold on. As far as your ability to finish the fight from that position is greatly enhanced by you attaining that position. But if you get the position and you do nothing with it, you don't attempt those rear naked chokes or anything at all, it's just a position. And in MMA, you don't get credit from the judges for a simple position. It's what do you do with the position? No different than a takedown attempt. I go to take you down. I double leg you. I bring you up here and boom, down, and you pop right back up. Is it a takedown?
That's different than me having your back.
You hold on. You hit the ground. Right?
Yeah.
Now the judges are, if depending upon the elevation that I get on you and how much impact you hit the ground with, the judges may give me some credit for it. But if you don't hit the ground hard at all and I don't get any elevation and you pop right back up, there was no takedown, because it's the same as the position means nothing without the attempts to finish the fight.
The difference for me, the difference is if I take you down and go right to mount, or if I take you down and get to your back, you're never going to stand me up from those two positions. In a takedown,
that's not true.
It's very rare, John.
I admit it's very rare. I can tell you, I stood up 2 fights from the mount.
That's just bad reffing.
Out of all of the ones that I did, and if I take you back to those fights, people will go, yeah, that was probably a good idea. But I can tell you, I've seen guys, Herb Dean, I've seen stand people up while they have someone's back.
Well, he's a questionable ref anyways. We'll
talk
about later.
I'm not saying that that's always the right thing to do. And most of the time I will absolutely take the side against it. But it does happen because you can be that person that gets that position and you do nothing with it. And it now is not a fight. It is nothing more than a control factor. You are someone trying to make clicks go off of a clock until you think you can get a win because you have the position. We've taken that out of something that is important in the judging criteria. The judges are not going off of that position. They're going off of what's effective. What are you damaging your opponent with? And if you get that position, they at least expect you with the back. You should be working towards ending the fight with that rear naked choke.
So the same can be said for the person whose back is taken, though. I've seen a lot of times where fighters just hold the wrist and then the opponent can't do it. The person on the back can't attack as well, only with one arm. It's a lot harder to. So the person who's just hoping for a stand-up from that position by just controlling 2-on-1. So the same can be said for the other way around. So it really could come down to where Yana was also defending several times without doing anything, making sure she didn't get choked, and just hanging out there, and then moments of striking in those little moments to help open up space to get out. It goes both ways, I feel like, from that position. Like I said, we're
it doesn't go both ways from that position, because if Vieira had attempted rear naked chokes and it at least gotten even somewhat close, Josh, it doesn't matter what Yana had done, the judges would have gone with Vieira, but she didn't. Your job as the fighter is to attempt. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but always be attempting to finish the fight. She wasn't.
There was moments there, I think in the beginning of the third round, she got the takedown and she was like in 3/4 mount or mount and she just stayed there. She didn't move. She didn't try to move. She just, but that ended up leading to her taking the back. So I was like, okay, well, I understand, because when someone is tired in the third round, you're waiting for them to exert a one big explosive movement so you can advance your position. So I'm going to be a blanket on you until you do that. And then when you do it, you're going to try so hard, I'm just going to let you go. I'm going to take your back or side control or hit us, whatever it is you're going to hit. But yeah, like I said, at the beginning of this conversation, I don't care who wins. I had Vieira winning slightly because of the dominant position from mount, also to the back, and then having the control there. I didn't think the last 15 seconds warranted the win, but realistically, I don't care. You know, I mean, it's one of those, it was like, I like to engage in this type of conversation because as a fighter, I would be thinking to myself, there's no way I was on this person's back for 3.5 minutes. What are you
Many fighters will feel that.
What are you talking about? And this is the reason why I engage. I play the devil's advocate a lot because other fighters and people and homers at home are sitting there going, there's no way, because they have some of the same questions that I have. Like, hey, I'm a former fighter and I'm thinking to myself, if I'm a young fighter, then you need to start paying attention to what you and I are talking about right now, because you can lose a fight like that where you thought you were dominating in the third round. I'm winning. No, you're not. And that's a rude awakening for someone, especially like if you have an undefeated record or you're 1 fight away or 2 fights away from maybe potentially getting a top 10 guy or top 5 guy or whatever it is. Now that just shut you back down 2 or 3 more fights of tough fighters to get back into that conversation. So don't make that same mistake. That's really this is really why I have these type of conversations with you.
Yeah, no, it's exactly right. And it's something every fighter needs to learn. You know, I know Vieira was kind of shocked when she lost because she looked at, I was controlling the fight. She's right. She was. It's not about controlling the fight. It's about winning the fight, damaging your opponent, finishing the fight. That's what they're looking for. You do those things, that's what's going to get you your win.
So you can say the same thing, though, for people that are on the feet, like stick and move, to versus the people that are like controlling the tempo of the fight. Like people are like, oh, you just ran the whole time. Yeah, I'm still controlling where the fight goes. The other guy was more aggressive. Doesn't mean he did anything. Like when we talked about the Marlon Rice and Jose Aldo, it was reckless abandonment of pressure where he kept walking into punches, but he wasn't really landing anything himself. But sure, he was the one being the aggressor. But being the aggressor doesn't really do anything for you if you're not landing anything. Is that what you're saying?
The epitome of reckless abandon and pressure is Khabib. Yeah. Khabib is the guy. You take a look at what he does and his reckless abandon of I'm going forward. He did it with, Barbosa, just in a crazy fashion, and took a great striker and made it to where he couldn't strike. But he's in danger of getting hit and dropped. It's a possibility by making that pressure just so, present and just going after things. When he fought Justin Gaethje, take a look, man, he was crushing the space on Gaethje. Yeah. Reckless abandonment, just huge pressure. It can work for you. And but if he's landing no shots during any of that, or not getting the takedowns and then doing his thing, he's going to lose the round. It doesn't matter how much you come forward. It's the person that does the things that can end the fight. And when we talk about ending the fight, pressure's great, but it's the things that pressure brings along with it that help you end the fight. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. We had somewhat of a similar situation with the Phil Haas fight. And is it Imavov?
Imavov.
Imavov. Is it
Imavov?
It's Imavov.
Imavov? I heard it both ways.
Okay.
I heard Joe Martinez said it one way, the broadcast team said it another, so it's one of them.
Okay. The tough guy. He was fun to watch.
The tough Frenchman.
Yeah. He was fun to watch.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I was mad that the fight IQ isn't quite there. Like there was moments where he crushed his space so much that he just took himself out of punching range to do damage and smothered everything to the point where it was like, okay, but then he was really good with elbows as well. But he still even crushed that space so much to where he was able to get grabbed. If you know somebody wants to wrestle you, I think the elbows are great, but let's not just rely strictly on those, because that brings you closer to them for them to grab you. Okay. And he's got power. You saw it right off the bat and with the big shots. He should have been sticking and moving on that jab and keeping his circle. I'm surprised his corner wasn't yelling and screaming at him to do that. But damn, I want to watch him fight again. I was the whole conversation though that with the reffing on the situation. I had Imavov winning, but
is that reffing or judging?
What do you mean?
You said reffing of this fight.
Sorry, judging. Sorry, judging. Okay. Did I say reffing? Okay, sorry. Yeah. I had Imavov winning the fight. It was close.
So
it was another one of those things where it was close. But I like the guys that.
But then what? Hold it. Then what? Because we just talked about it.
No.
The guys that are trying to finish the fight.
winning 15 seconds at the end of the fight and winning the last minute and a half of the end of the fight. And there was there was a lot less of positioning, like in terms of Phil Haas never had his back. He just pressed him against the fence and that was it. He never had his back, never had mount, never had those positions. Those are finishing positions. Clinching against the fence is not a finishing position.
Okay.
Those are not comparables. Apples and oranges.
I'm just trying to ask, you Josh Thompson, the MMA judge, you get I'm not saying that in a bad way. You have learned so much. I'm so proud of you, my student.
It's very true. This is very true. From the moment we met, I've been picking your brain about this stuff.
So you gave Phil Haas the first round?
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
Yes, I would have too.
Okay.
He definitely won the first round.
Yes.
Went out, he looked good, landed some good shots, controlled the wrestling, took him down. Phil Haas wins the round.
Did he get rocked in the second?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the round that I gave Imavov the second.
And I would have too. But again, this is what happens sometimes. We don't know the angle that the judges were seeing and what they saw. And we don't know that they actually saw Phil Haas get hurt. We saw it, and I thought the broadcast did a good job of pointing it out. He got hurt. He tried to hide it well, but you could see as soon as a guy gets hurt, you see them trying to utilize not musculature strength to hold their position. They start to use their skeletal frame. They start to stiffen up because it's easier for them to try to control their balance. And you saw Haas do that. So you knew he was hurt. I thought that was the most telling thing that happened in that second round. And I would have given Imavov the second round. There's no doubt about the third round. It's an easy, and Haas took an ass whipping and took some big shots, and you got to give him credit.
Yeah,
man, he was tough as hell. He stood in there. He did not go down, but man, he took some big shots, and he was seriously hurt. You could see how much he was hurt. He was doing the stanky leg dance, and he was having problems. So much so that one of the judges ended up giving that round as a 10-8. And that's why you had the 28-20. It became a majority decision. I do not think that Phil Haas won the fight. I think when the judges go back and look at that second round, they're going to see that he took a lot more damage than they realized. He got hurt in that round. He never hurt, his opponent. And that's the real telling difference in that round. I would have had that fight as a 29, probably 29-28 for Imavov, but it's that's one of the things that can happen. And you left it out there. Haas was tough. I love the fact of what you said with Imavov, that he allowed Haas at times to get too close because he was trying to use elbows instead of distance. Is key when you're a striker, and sometimes you crush that distance, and he did that.
Yeah.
Boss Rutan used to talk to me all the time about, why are these guys crushing their own distance? And I go, because they're trying to end the fight. They're just not as good right now as you were in being able to understand, I can't crush that. I need to step back, but it was a good fight. It was a good fight by both guys. And I give Phil Haas credit in the fact that, man, he's looking better. His stand-up is looking so much better. His wrestling, we know he can wrestle, but his stand-up is looking really good, but he's still got that. At times, the hands start to come down. That chin is out there. He needs to be careful of that. He's working with the right people to fix that, but it's still there.
Yeah, Imavov, he like you said, he crushed his own space, left himself in position to be clinched. There was moments, I think, in the third round where he could have finished it in that last 30 seconds or last minute. I think it was minute 29 is when he rocked him, when he rocked Phil Haas. That's just fight IQ. I don't know if that comes with just more experience, if it just comes with big pressure, more time. The other thing as well is a lot of fighters, they're nervous when they rock somebody to be outside of that clinching range, because we've seen too many highlight videos of you get carried away and fight's over, you get knocked out. I mean, I can take a look at, what was it? Patricio and the German fighter, Daniel Weichel. Weichel rocked him and got carried away and chased after him, and boom, boom, boom. Fight was over in 1-2 punches. Same thing with Dave Rickles and Patricky, his brother. Same thing. You've got to be very cautious and careful in those situations. I think a lot of fighters, they rock somebody and they want to smother it just in case the guy gets brave. I can at least grab you if I get clipped also. They get a little bit like, oh, this is too easy. They start winging it. But overall, I had Imavov winning the fight. I'm glad you did too. I'm glad you're finally starting to think properly.
Thank you. Thank you for teaching me. I appreciate that, dude.
Yes. But overall, I thought it was a good fight. Those are like, sometimes those are the fights that you're like, man, I want to see another round. You know what I mean? I actually, when I heard 28-28, I kind of was like, all right, I can get behind that. I could get behind that, but then when they had it for the other way, I was like, ooh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So it just was one of those. Who impressed me though but it was a fabulous fight, was the Minner fight and Rosa fight.
Yeah.
Just scramble after scramble and submission attempt after submission attempt. And Minner just kept putting himself in those deep ass arm bars. And I'm thinking to myself, you fucking guy, what are you doing to yourself?
Have you ever heard two arms in, both arms out? What are you doing?
That's ridiculous. But Rosa did hit a beautiful arm bar though. He was getting side choked and he pushed up on the face and was able to get his knees in there. I was like, oh shit, he's almost got this. But it was very nice how he was able to frame the face away and throw the leg over the head and put the knee inside underneath the armpit. I was like, wow, there was a couple nice transitions by Rosa. He just couldn't get it done. He was a step behind in the wrestling, and he was a step behind in just the striking a little bit as well. They were kind of
not as quick.
Yeah, it just wasn't as quick. And the transitions, he wasn't as quick in the transitions. He was in the transitions for wrestling, but not in terms of, grappling, but not in terms of the wrestling and the grappling together, position and control with the striking. Once you start throwing strikes, a lot of the wrestling and jiu-jitsu starts to kind of like slow down because they need to defend before they can actually try to defend their position or advance their position. So, but I thought it was like watching two little ferrets, man, get after it. I loved it. I love seeing two very well-rounded fighters.
You love ferrets.
I do love ferrets. I do. I would never have them. They're fucking stinky as all hell.
Oh, stink. Yeah.
But I do. Have you ever watched them? Like they have I was in South Africa, and they're called meerkats. They look a little bit like ferrets, and they run along on the beaches and stuff. But you see them every once in a while tussling with each other. And they remind me of ferrets. They're just getting after all over the place.
They're born with jujitsu.
Yes.
They are. Yeah.
So envious, man.
Crazy.
Fucking little bastards. Just born that way. But overall, I was very impressed with that performance. It was a great fight to watch. Very knowledgeable. If you guys are paying attention, it was a good fight.
It was. It was a fun fight.
What did you do? Anything else on that fight?
No.
The other fight, man, I got to tell you, Andrei Arlovski's a tough SOB. He took some big shots in that first round.
Ooh.
And he just kind of just waited and bided his time and just was patient. And he started coming on towards the end of the first. And I was like, ooh, we have a fight on our hands. But then Aspinall just changed the game plan, switched it up, made a great adjustment.
What happened there?
What do you mean?
You look and you think about how Andre got rocked in that first round and how he, covers up, and it looks like that, Aspinall's going to be able to punch his way into the referee stopping the fight. But Andre gets that clinch and is able to hold on and recover. And he actually comes back in the first round. And you're looking and going, okay, that you're in this fight. This kid's tough. We all know what he can do. And we know on the ground what he can do. So when you get double legged into the cage at Mach 2,
yes,
and turn your back right away, it's like with your hands on the mat. What the hell? You just lost. I don't know if hitting the cage rocked his cabeza to the point where no clear thoughts were there for a second. But Andre, you can't do that with a guy that, if there's one thing everyone knows about Tom, is on the ground, he's a freaking monster. You can't turn your back to him. There's other ways of getting up off of that cage than just turning your back to him. And that was, you do the big mistake. That's why you lost the fight. Good job by Tom Aspinall. And I know Andre was upset with himself. You could see it was like, as soon as, he taps, damn it. And it's because he knew I made a huge mistake, and that's why I just got choked.
Yeah, a lot of it was he turned, put his hand, like you said, put his hands on the ground. But then when he did it, though, he didn't tuck his chin either. He looked straight up in the air. Like he looked up as if like, here's my chin, here's my neck. The other thing as well is that Aspinall came across with the left arm, so the one that was close to the cage. So that took away the spin. And if he would have spun, he would have spun right back into him to a mount position or at least to a 3/4 mount. So that was nicely done. Some people will start to choke with the right arm, the one furthest away from the cage. And then when they spin back the other way, it makes it easier for them to spin and get out, but it also puts their back to the fence and they can start to stand up from that position as well. So I thought that was very impressive how he used his far side arm, the one that was closest to the cage, to come underneath the chin. And it made it harder for him Andre to spin out. But it was overall, it was leading up to be a good fight. But Aspinall this is a big win for him. But then he called out, the winner of the fight later, and I'm like, okay, I would have understood if Oleinik had won, but his opponent, like, no, I'm digging for his name. What's his name?
Aldakos.
There you go. See? So why call him out? You just beat Andrei Arlovski, former champion. I'm going to take a page out of Chael Sonnen's book, man. Call out the big names, man. Call them out. What are you doing? You're wasting a moment like that.
I just said it wrong. Kyle's his brother. That was Chris.
See? Exactly. See?
Yeah.
That's my point. He looked phenomenal. He looked great against Oleinik. He looked fabulous.
Good hand speed. He can
fast
stand up
hand
and
speed.
fight,
He's
man.
got some power. He's quick and good at getting away from the takedowns. Fabulous job. But I don't know who he is. Now you just said you want to fight the winner of that fight. If it was Oleinik, I'd be like, okay, cool. But if it's not Oleinik. It's the other guy. See? And so when that happens, no, man, get up into that conversation. Say, I want to fight the winner of Cyril Gane and Rosenstruck. I want to something like that. Give me up in that next conversation. Why not Alistair Overeem? You just beat Andrei Arlovski. Let's hit Alistair Overeem. He's up there. Let's go. Like, I've had to take a page out of Chael and think to myself, that was a bad call out. You've got to be more specific on, like, hey, you want the big names and the ones that are going to catapult your career. Another one, like another notch on your belt or on your, on your headboard or whatever it is. To let people know, hey, I beat this person. I just beat Andrei Arlovski. Now I want to beat, Overeem. Whoever's in that top 5 after Overeem, that's who I want next.
Yeah.
He's good. He's good. I'm excited to see him. He's got fast hands. Obviously got good. That power double was impressive, and the quick transition to the back was very impressive. He does remind me, not just by looks. He reminds me a lot of Frank Mir.
He does.
Just like,
dude, he's his illegitimate son.
Yeah. That's gonna make you wonder.
Well, knowing Frank.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Frank, were you in the UK for very long? Where were you?
Yeah, UFC 38.
That's so great. That would make you about this old. Yep, you are about that old.
Oh, there. Horrible.
Oh shit.
It's, the funny part is Dacus did the same thing though when I thought Bisping was doing a good job interviewing him, and he's talking and saying, "Well, who do you want?" It doesn't matter. I just I'm number 10 now. This should put me, just give me someone above number 10. And he gave the right answer because Bisping kind of pushed him towards it. And he says, give me, he says, give me Stipe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you're going to call out Stipe, then add something to it. Dude, you're a Philadelphia cop. He's a Cleveland firefighter. We know that freaking police officers are more athletic than firefighters, or no, the firefighters are going to be more athletic. He could have added more to it and made it kind of make it to where, hey, maybe it'll work for you. But he just lost a little bit on that one. I love the fact he called out Stipe and he looked good, but
he did.
Give more, man. Come on. You got to think about these things beforehand so you can talk and make people go, hey, that's kind of cool what he said.
Go back to the heavyweight division again, please, in the UFC. Yeah, you've got what happened to Bogoy? I mean, Bogoy used to train at AKA, but I mean, now with COVID hit, I haven't seen him in forever. And
he's been training at Extreme, hasn't he?
Has he been there?
Extreme Couture.
Yeah. So you've got who you got? You got Tybura. You've got Pavlovich. You've got Bogoy. You've got Junior. Walt Harris. Who else is there? Saki. Didn't Saki retire?
No. Augusto Sakai?
Oh no.
Sakai,
no. It's did the other one retire?
You're thinking Gohan?
Yeah, Gohan. Did he retire?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he retired or not,
I
but
think
he hasn't fought
okay.
since he got knocked out.
I don't even want to butcher that guy's name. Aburak. Anyways. Okay, and then you have Cyril Gane, Overeem, Volkov, Lewis. I mean, there's a great mix of guys to be in there in that conversation. So I want to see.
Sure there is.
Yeah, I want to see these fights. I want to see the heavyweight division starting to. I just criticized it 2 weeks ago, John. So I got to pull my foot out of my mouth and say these young guys now, they're getting me a little more energized right now. I'm just seeing it and I'm going okay. We can start chomping at the bit a little bit here. I'm liking this. There's some mix in there that we can start throwing this together. I'm liking it.
This is the first time in quite a while where you've got at least, I would say 6 to 7. Mm-hmm. You go, hey, that guy could definitely challenge for the title. Yeah. That guy could. And they have a viable, call to say, yeah, they deserve that. It's getting better.
Yeah.
It's getting a lot better.
Well, like Aspinall, right? He's not even in here in the top 15.
No.
So it's like
he will be now.
And then what's his name? Dawkins. He'll be the one now. He'll be number 10, probably number 11 somewhere. He might be somewhere in number 11. Yeah, somewhere in there. So in that conversation, I mean, but guys like Sakai, I mean, I could see Aspinall fighting guys like Sakai. That'd be a great fight. Get him to the ground.
I say Sakai versus Dawkins.
There you go.
Would be the fight because both of them are
good stand-up
fighters, and it would be interesting to watch.
That's true. What about Walt Harrison, Aspinall?
Ah, man, I tell you what, Walt. I think Walt just needs to take some time.
Yeah,
I really like Walt Harris. Good guy, good fighter, got really good stand-up, super athletic, but somehow right now he's got other thoughts in his head other than fighting, and you can't have that.
Well, then what about Bagoy? You got Bagoy and Aspinall. That'd be a good fight.
That would be a really good fight because on the ground, they're both really good.
Mm-hmm.
They both have really good, submission games. And, Blagoy was a guy that took away Fedor's Sambo championship.
Oh, I didn't know that. He trained with me all those years. I didn't know that. That was his one loss?
He beat Fedor. Yep, beat Fedor in the Sambo World Championship. So he's got some game, man. And, in the stand-up, they approach it differently. I think that Tom is much smoother, much more athletic looking in his stand-up. But Blagoy, he implements what he does well. He's just more of the one punch, swing and duck out and then reestablish and come back guy. He doesn't throw in combinations a lot.
Who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Karatanov. I don't know if it's because of the little bit of the belly and the way their body frame is, I don't know what it is, but he kind of reminds me, his style reminds me of Karatanov. So,
yeah,
but I mean,
doesn't kick, uses a boxing approach.
I'm interested now after me 2 weeks ago putting my foot in my mouth and saying, the heavyweight division is kind of, it's not like you've got a lot of the older guys that are there. Now we're seeing the younger guys just in the last, and I think by next week too, we'll see it again with Cyril Gane and Rosenstruck in that conversation as well. Start to put themselves in that top 5 position, top 7 position. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I mean, you've got, Aspinall probably going to come up in there, getting close to the 15 position. You've got Dawkins, who's just probably catapulted himself in the top 12, top 10 or 11 or 12, somewhere in there, and you're going to start seeing these fighters. I'm excited. You got in there, you've got Rosenstruck, you got Curtis Blaydes will drop, but Derrick Lewis will replace there. Alistair and Volkov are kind of in that conversation. They're still in that top 6-7 position. Cyril Gane may jump up if he beats Rosenstruck. I mean, I'm interested. John Jones is in there somewhere. We don't know yet, but he'll be inserted in there somewhere after his fight. Does he deserve being the former champ, being the most dominant fighter at 205? Does he deserve an automatic title shot?
Yes.
Okay. I thought so.
Absolutely.
I'm not disagreeing. I thought so.
No different than Israel Adesanya deserves a shot at the light heavyweight title. Look at what he's done in the middleweights.
Yeah.
He's run the table on it.
Yeah.
For the most part. Absolutely, he deserves that title shot. John Jones absolutely deserves his first fight for the championship. Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I agree. I like it. I'm liking that John's up there and Izzy went up. I'm wondering what's going on with the 85-pound division now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there at that division. Because if he wins it at 205, does he stay? Does he stay?
That is the question.
You know, does he stay? That's the
I don't know. In a lot of
question.
ways, I think the UFC would like him to stay.
Mm-hmm.
He adds a legitimacy to that weight class that I think it's kind of lacking right now.
Yeah, I think also too at 185. I mean, realistically, if you pull up 185, you've got Paulo Costa, you've got Jared Cannonier, Darren Till, you've got Vettori. You've got a lot of great fights that are in there that can be made. And honestly, he's extremely marketable. It's Paulo Costa. He's extremely marketable. So now you have a guy who's extremely marketable, fun to watch.
Brings him right back in the mix.
Brings him right back at the top of the conversation. And you've got Izzy who went up, and if he does win the title, it's like, okay, well, look, he was obviously the better fighter at 185. So he's up at 205 now, trying to see what he can do there. Slide Paulo Costa in there. I still want to see potentially, after one or two more fights, Usman go to 85. I want to see it. I want to see it. I just want to see it. What else? What else we got there, Dave?
Well, there's the one that we got to talk about. The fight that wasn't a fight. It did not happen. There was the incident. Dave, what was the name of the opponent? I can't say it. It was Chaz Skelly was the man that was left in the ring, and I think they pulled it off of the thing because it was a canceled fight.
Jamal Emmers?
That's it, Emmers.
Mm-hmm.
I had people actually tweeting me about this, Josh, and saying that should be a DQ. No, it should not. You want to give a guy a loss off of the fact that he has a medical problem in the back. That is not when you give someone a loss. That's no different than if he had the medical problem after weigh-ins. It's the same thing. You know, it's just a canceled fight. Let me kind of give you a couple of things that you should have been looking at. First off, when Chaz Skelly walks out and he's got that red tape on his wrist with the gloves, he's not supposed to be the first person walking out. He's the second person walking out. You're always going to see the blue corner walk out first, and the red corner will walk out second. So it was a clue that they were having a problem. So when Chaz Skelly is standing in the octagon by himself with the red tape on his gloves, it's a clue that there's a problem with someone with the fighter in the blue corner. Yeah. He's up there, and they finally come out and say, "Look, we've been informed. There's a medical condition that's happened where this fight is going to be canceled." That was the correct call. The time that you would disqualify the fighter is we'll say, Emmers walked out. He is in the cage. Skelly walks out. He's now in the cage. Joe Martinez goes and he announces both Emmers and then Chaz Skelly. And now Emmers goes, whoop, I can't fight. I don't want to fight. I'm hurting, whatever it's going to be. Now you have a disqualification. Okay, even though the fight didn't start, he has been announced. Once you've had that announcement, we have a fight, because what's the next thing that happens? The referee starts the fight. So that's when you would get to the point of, all right, we're going to disqualify. We want to go all the way back to UFC 3. You had Harold Howard comes out. He goes in the cage. Royce Gracie comes out. He goes in the cage. They announce Harold Howard. They announce Royce Gracie, and Royce has got a problem. And we had it to where at the time it was you had to throw the towel or you tap. So corner throws in the towel. He loses the fight, or he would have been disqualified under today's realm. So definitely not a time to disqualify and give a loss to a fighter that never even comes out to the cage. No, we don't do that. It was the right call. I'm sorry that Chaz Skelly, didn't get to fight, but they'll put him in a fight right away. And, as soon as he feels like he can control his weight and be safe in doing it, and he'll get his money for, stepping into the cage. But Emmers did not deserve to lose based upon what occurred.
When you say UFC 3, I want you to understand that a lot of our listeners weren't even born yet.
No kidding, man.
Some of them were like maybe 4, 5, 8, something like that. So yeah, they didn't have access to UFC 3, Big John. Just want to let you know that, okay, bud?
Well, what's funny is that the stories out there and how I started as the referee, and it was the Gracies that brought me in, and there were all kinds of people at the time saying, "Oh man, that's unfair. You will do whatever they need and stuff." And I'm going, I gave Royce his first loss because I was the one telling him, he can't fight, you throw in that towel. You know, because it was the right thing to do at the time. It's like, because they wanted to bring Royce out and bring in a alternate fighter to fight at the time against Harold Howard. I said, nope, he's already been announced. Throw the towel. So that's what happens. Man. The old days, baby. Derrick Lewis belonged in the old days.
The good days.
Did you see Chaz Skelly's post-fight interview?
No, I didn't see it.
What does he say?
So right towards the end of the interview, he gets up and he does this. I'm going to play it for you. Hold on, let me see.
How long can you play it without it being taken down?
I can play it. He sings like the whole song.
What is this?
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, turn it off.
Okay, we're done. We're done.
It's a Tenacious D song. He just sang like the whole thing right there.
I was a fan till that moment.
Yeah, he's just lost me.
John, so he had brought up, now I know it'll be different from promotion to promotion. He had brought up in the cage, he looked over at Bisbee and goes, hey, will I get my win bonus? Will he get his win bonus in that situation?
No, he didn't win.
Don't yell at me.
No. No, I wasn't yelling at you.
Well, most of the time, the promotion will pay a win bonus or a portion of the win bonus for, hey, we appreciate you making the weight, appreciate you coming, getting ready, warmed up, did everything, got in the cage. You did everything you were supposed to do. We understand it's a shitty situation to be in, but most of the time the promotions will give like a partial win bonus, another 10, 15 grand, whatever it is, or they'll give a full win bonus because you did come and you did your part of the job. So we'll see, man. I think
he's going to get his show money, but he's not going to get any
what they'll do when they do give you your show money, they'll generally schedule you right away in the next couple weeks. So then you really just go back home, eat a little bit, and you get back in your training camp for a week or two, game plan for whoever else is coming up. Yeah, maintain, and then jump back into it for a fight. So, who was the fighter that missed weight by 11, 12 pounds? Chavez?
No, Chavez fought. Chavez
I know, but who? Weight. Oh, I thought someone missed weight by 12 pounds. Who missed weight by 12 pounds?
Yeah, no, they did. 11.5 pounds. I can't think of his name.
I'm trying to pull it up right now.
What's funny is everyone's like, oh, I've never heard of anything like that in my life. Dude, Ryan Couture, when he was fighting in Bellator, had an opponent come in 17 pounds overweight.
Yeah. We were talking about
Alves, right?
Rafael Alves. We had the same problem with Robin Van Musen.
That was 11 pounds.
That was 11 pounds.
Robin Van Rossmullen.
There you go. You guys, I'm bad at pronunciation and I'm bad at math. You know what? But hey, at least I can sit here in front of you and admit it.
So hold it. You're saying that math was the problem, English was the problem.
English,
reading's the problem, but sports, PE was good.
No, I can now that we have spell check on our phones, I can text pretty well.
All right, there you go.
That's great. I love it. That's this shitty situation. 12 pounds.
It's uncalled for. Because he knows.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Is it's not so much that you're going to miss weight. You're going to miss weight. You need to be contacting people. You need to be telling them, hey, I'm not even close. Because they can possibly, if you do it well ahead of time, possibly your opponent will say, okay, I'll move up in weight class.
Yeah.
Just so we can have this matchup for this fight.
Yeah, just so if your opponent doesn't have to cut weight, they're like, I don't cut weight either. We can just fight. Okay, cool, fine.
So if you're already on the scales, how does that work? Because
he's saying that you should have said that beforehand.
Should have said it long beforehand. He knows where he's at. He knows where his weight's at.
If he came in and weighed in at 12, that means the night before he was probably 20.
Yeah,
he was probably 20 over the night before. You've got to have a better understanding of where you're at. You know what I mean? Like the night before, I was always trying to fall before the morning weigh-ins. I was always trying to fall asleep at least 7 or 8 over. I'd sleep off 2 or 3, wake up, cut 6 or 7, 6 in the morning or something like that. Wake up in the morning, cut 6 pounds the next morning, and then float the rest up until weigh-ins. You've got to have a good idea. I would never try to go to bed like 10 pounds overweight the night before because you only sleep off 1, maybe 2 if you're lucky. And you get up and you got to cut another 8. F that, man. No way. I cut 6, you cut 6, and then you just basically float the other 1.5 pounds or whatever it is up until weigh-ins. I mean, This is ridiculous. 12 is like you just basically gave up and you said, nah, I'm good. If that's the case, if you're just going to give up on cutting your weight like that, just fucking go to the weight class above. You're wasting everyone's time. That's a joke. Now, Robin came up with a different excuse. Robin's diabetic, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so Robin's diabetic. So he had some issues where his blood sugars.
He had an insulin problem that caused him to fluctuate and have a problem. And that can happen. You know, like I said, this has happened quite a few times. It doesn't get the press that this one's getting based upon the UFC. But, you know, like I said, over 17 pounds. The most I've ever seen was 22.
Jesus.
Walks in 22 pounds over the weight class. The weight class was 155 pounds. So you look and you go, 22 pounds. Jeez. That would put him where? Well, you know, he's a middleweight. It's just ridiculous.
Wow. That's crazy.
Do you guys want to hear the excuse he gave, or do you care?
Yeah, sure. Let's hear it. I want to make fun of it.
So he said he ate salmon yesterday and then he fell ill, vomit and diarrhea.
Salmon.
So
if he had vomit and diarrhea, he would have lost a lot more weight.
So he said the doctor told him he had to treat it with water, and he only had 4 pounds left to cut. When he drank the water, his weight went up and got stuck. So the doctor didn't clear him to fight.
It's not true.
Lie.
Not true.
Sorry,
that's not true.
Not buying it.
Yeah, I mean, he would have had to put 6 pounds of water in. I mean, there's just no way. And then he would have ate food probably with the water. There's just no way. It's ridiculous.
Especially you got to figure if he's having diarrhea and vomiting, what's coming out of his system?
Yeah.
Water.
Yeah. The other thing as well is that when that situation happens, that means that your manager and your corners are being idiots. They should have called the UFC and said, "Hey, I was feeling sick. They're telling me to go to the doctor. Like I need to take an IV or do whatever it is." Then they should have talked to the UFC. The UFC would have told them what to do. Made sure that they try to keep that fight together. And so they would have said, "Okay, we'll go ahead and go. If they have to try not to get an IV, but we'll figure out what we can do. See if we can keep the fight." When the fighters start saying shit like that, they're just making shit up. I mean, I've been around too many fighters, and I know
because the press is putting that out doesn't mean it's true.
It's not true. I don't believe it would be true.
Nope.
No, because if you really were in a shitty situation and you were feeling sick or whatever it was, you would have called the UFC and said, "Hey, I'm not feeling well. Something's going on." Like and the UFC is and I speak from experience. They're very quick to say, "I'll send my doctor right over." Or, "Hey, I'm going to send you to my doctor. Go to this address and he will try to get you taken care of," knowing that doctor knows all the protocols for a fighter. Like, "Hey, we cannot give you an IV. We can do this. We can't do this. We can do this. Okay, you can get away with these, whatever it is, aspirin or whatever. I don't know what it is." But you know what I'm saying?
You're not walking into an urgent care. You're not walking into a hospital. You're walking in. They're taking you right to the back, putting you in. You're seeing someone right away. They take care of the fighter to make sure that if possible, that fighter is going to be able to perform.
Yep. The one thing and John can attest to this, the one thing the UFC does have is a fucking shitload of connections in Las Vegas. Ooh. So if you have an issue at all as a fighter there, you will be taken care of firsthand. And in terms, they have the answer, like you said, anywhere. It doesn't matter. I mean, I remember my first fight with them. I went there and I was having some issues with like my sciatica after Frank had spear-rolled me in the spine. And I was having problems there, and Dana sent me off to some witch doctor guy, and I gotta tell you, fucking worked. He's like, he's like, while you're here, I'll give you 3 visits. He's like, tell you, he just went to the guy's house, worked on me there at his house. He's like, yeah, felt a lot better, worked out perfectly, got me through the fight. That's all that mattered to me, man. And I remember I had another issue a while after that, leading up to the Eves fight. They flew me out to Vegas. Sent me to another doctor. Saw that doctor for 2 or 3 days, and then they flew me back home. They're like, "Did it help?" I was like, "Yeah, it actually did help." So they will do what they can to take care of the fighters. They do a good job. And people want to criticize them all the time, and I like to give them a hard time as well. But in that aspect of what they do a great job.
Yep.
So
I agree.
What else?
Herb Dean trending. Oh my God.
Let's talk Herb Dean trending. Tell me why.
Why is he trending?
Yeah, why is he trending?
From what I read, he was trending based upon his stoppage of the Olenek fight and then the stoppage of the Derrick Lewis, because Derrick Lewis said that's Herb Dean's fault. And you look and you go, really? Okay. Now, it's you take a look and let's take a look at the stoppage of Olenek. Could Herb have stopped it earlier? Yes, he could have. But there could have been things that he's seeing at the time that is telling him, no, I've got to let that go. And he's worked with Olenek. People are saying that Olenek is looking up at Herb to, ask for him to step in. I'm glad that that's your read of it, but that's just your perception. That doesn't mean that's real. I would say that Olenek is actually trying to look towards Herb, making sure he doesn't stop it. Is the way Herb would look at it more and say, I'm okay. But, is it a perfect stoppage? No. How many of them are? Could he have stopped it one punch sooner? Sure. Could he have stopped it two? Yeah. Could he have let it go even longer? Yes. If you're going to have 100 people look at it, you might have 50 that go, I think he should have stopped it earlier. And you have 50 that say, I thought it was fine. Olenek is a guy that the only thing I would say is when he stops it, he starts to wave his arms and he's stepping off, and Olenek starts to do the lean this way, and Herb goes over and catches him, and he does the right thing, doesn't let him fall. But Olenek didn't hit the ground either. And when you got a guy that is 75 fights into his career and he hasn't hit the ground and he's trying to come back, you got to, sometimes we let that guy swim into deep waters. And when Herb thought he was drowning, he pulled him out. Is everyone going to agree with it? No. But that's just your opinion. You're not the guy standing in there. When it comes to the Curtis Blaydes and Derrick Lewis fight, this is what happens. In the back, most referees are going to tell the fighter, hey, you go after him, you knock the guy down, you stop when I tell you to stop. Don't stop unless I tell you to stop, because we get fighters that cheat. They will get stuck in a position and they'll kind of see where the referee is, and they'll put their hand and start tapping on the fighter. The fighter lets go of the hold, and the referee doesn't see it. And all of a sudden, the bottom fighter starts fighting, and the referee's letting it go, and they're going, and all of a sudden, everything falls apart for the guy that should have won the fight. So we always say, hey, when we tell you to stop, stop. Go until I tell you to stop. If you feel a tap, but you're not sure, is that really a tap? Continue until I tell you to stop. You'll feel my hands coming down on you. I'll be taking and trying to pull whatever submission you have. If you're punching, I'm going to be putting myself in between you or pulling you off. At that moment, I want you to stop everything you're doing. Well, that's what he tells Derrick Lewis in the back. And this is what happens. Like when you had remember the Amanda Hebus fight against Rodriguez, and she gets hurt, and Herb was the referee of it, and he comes in close. He does not touch the fighters, but Rodriguez reads it like he's stopping the fight, and basically stops and backs off. And Herb is standing there like, I didn't stop it. And she has to come back in. That's the problem with the fighter just walking away when they want. So, when Curtis Blaydes gets hit by Derrick Lewis, yeah, he's out. Does Derrick need to hit him again? No, he doesn't. That's on him. But if Blaydes hits the ground and by hitting the ground, it brings him back, and Derrick Lewis is walking away, Herb's going to stand there and go, you should have gone after him. So Derrick did what he was supposed to do. The problem for Herb in that one is Herb's behind him. So he's got to move. Derrick is going forward towards Blaydes. Herb is trying to close that gap just based upon where he was at when that knockout punch actually landed. Blaydes falls away from him, so he's got to get in there. And does Derrick Lewis land a couple extra shots? Yeah. Trust me, that time for Herb is going in slow motion. He's trying to get there as fast as he can, and it seems like it's taking forever. It's really fast. Derrick Lewis is able to land a lot of shots in 1 second of time. So was it a bad thing by Herb in the Blaydes Lewis fight? Not at all. He got there as fast as he can. Is Derrick Lewis wrong for hitting Blaydes when he's unconscious? No. That's basically what happens at times because it can work against you. And we've seen it work against fighters. And that's where a lot of people get into this. Oh man, I don't like that guy. He hit him when he was unconscious. You please explain it, Josh. How often do you know exactly how hurt your opponent is when they're out?
You don't always. You don't always. I feel like in that situation, it reminded me a lot of Dan Henderson and Michael Bisping, though.
That's a different one.
But it was they were well. No, here he was out, and I'm glad that he had followed up the one time. But after the one time, he didn't need to hit him the second time when he was down. And I know I get what you're saying. I appreciate the fact because I was always the same way and was told the same thing, obviously by all the refs. Do not stop until the ref pulls you off. That's really what it comes down to. The bottom line is do not stop because, yeah, and as much as I love Chael Sonnen, he was the king of tap. No, I didn't tap. Lindland was the same way. I didn't tap. No, I didn't tap.
Totally.
And start me back in the same position, or like let's get back on the feet. They were sneaky that way.
No, they cheated.
Yeah, yes, okay. I use the word sneaky, but yeah, I get what you're saying. If you're not cheating, you're not trying, though.
There you go.
The Oleinik fight. Let's get into the Oleinik fight when he basically. No, I thought it was a good stoppage because when he was turtled up or whatever, fetal up against the fence, standing, the shots really weren't getting through. He was covering, they were sneaking through a little bit here and there.
He caught a couple, but
nothing that it didn't drop him. It didn't put him down. He's still standing. He's still trying to protect himself. That's the definition of like, hey, he's still intelligently defending himself. The last two shots he took though, that would definitely like kind of wobbled him, almost put him down. I can see why Herb stepped in. He took two clean, hard shots. When he tried to sit back up, he took him right on the button. Herb came in with perfect timing. I have no problem with that fight. I was looking at it the first time when it was in live. I was like, oh. But then I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and I'm like, no, great stoppage. Good timing on Herb's part. There was that. But then back to the Derrick Lewis fight. Derrick Lewis, I don't know, was there bad blood or something between them two? Curtis Blaydes and him and some mouthy or something like that? Because I don't look at Derrick as being like he was out. Curtis Blaydes was out cold. He hit him, dropped him, he was out. Hit him again, out. Hit him again. I mean, stiffened him up. That second one on the ground was nasty.
Nasty.
And so I put to take Derrick Lewis's position on this is I put a little bit of that on Herb Dean's fault because he was not in the proper position. And I know it's a split second. I know. I know
it's not really proper position because it all depends. You cannot determine which way a guy's going to fall.
Well, let me ask you this though, John.
If he had fallen towards Herb, do you think it would have been quicker?
No, let me ask you this though. Let me do a little reverse psychology on you here, buddy. Try to keep up.
Don't use psychology.
Try. If you as a referee, you guys are saying you guys have to stand on the open side, correct? So you see everything happen. Wouldn't you, in your mind, always want to be on the person's open side who has the most power? Because that's his power hand.
He was on the open side of the guy with the most power.
No, he was on the back side. That's why he fell away from him.
He was on the open side of Derrick Lewis.
That's his back. He hit him with the uppercut this way.
Yes,
he went away.
Herb was on. No,
Let's
Herb
take
was
a look
on
can you pull it up for us?
Of
I want to see
Derrick Lewis.
Look at it.
Derrick Lewis hits him with a right hand, and that's the side
the right
Herb
uppercut
standing on. Yeah. And
Blaydes
falls which way?
He fell towards the right hand.
He fell towards his left hand.
Let's see it again.
Jesus, yeah, let's see it again. Come on, man.
We're waiting on him to figure this out. I swear he hit him.
Okay, maybe I could be wrong.
You're see.
Oh no!
I'm right. I'm right. See, look where Herb is.
Yeah, I see where Herb's at right now.
He just stopped because of the eye pokes.
Jeez.
It's coming right now.
Look where he's going.
No.
Look at where he's going. Look at where he's going. Look where he's at.
He put himself back in the wrong position. Yes. He did come back around in front, and then he went back after he put himself in the right position.
Yep.
But as a ref, though, you want to be on that opening side. But do you think in terms of like, look, Blaydes has got power. Sure, he's a heavyweight. Of course, almost all heavyweights have power. But not a lot of them have Derrick Lewis power. Do you guys think like, hey, I always got to make sure I'm on the Derrick Lewis open side because he's the one with the most power?
No, many times you'll actually say Derrick Lewis has got the power, right? And I worry about his power, so I'm going to be on the open side of his opponent based upon I want to see that opponent more. I want to see him if he gets hit, and I think that's where Herb was going.
Got it.
So Derrick Lewis's comment in the post-fight press conference was, I got to wait until the referee pulls me off because you never know what happens. Anything can happen. He could turn into the Undertaker and sit up and eat all those shots.
That's Tyson Fury.
That's true.
Tyson Fury.
Yes, that's true. Like Tyson Fury just whoop. You're like, what the freak? Oh man. But no, that's, as I recall, he was on the backside of Derrick Lewis, so he had to run all the way around to the front to get, because there's no way you're gonna jump behind Derrick Lewis and pull him back. He had to get in front of him to knock him off. Yeah. So in that scenario, and when I was watching it last night, I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, Herb was in the wrong space, in the wrong spot, but only for that second punch. Had he been a little bit more on the other side, I think he would have got there for after the first punch. Just that second one was so nasty, though, John.
Yeah, it was. I admit nasty. It was, but Herb did nothing wrong in that.
Well, you know me. I'm a victim.
Because he's trying.
I like to blame the victim. Why wasn't Herb in the right spot?
Why did you not? Why did you let that second? Yeah. Look, he doesn't want to.
Oh, man.
He doesn't want those second shots, those first shots or second shots to land. When he's made up his mind, I'm stopping the fight. He's trying to get there as quick as he can to do it.
There's a little bit of a stutter step, almost like he wanted Blaydes to take that next shot.
Ooh,
no, I'm just kidding.
Man, now talk about reading something.
I'm getting watch the stutter step right there. He stutters for a second. No, I'm just kidding. I just feel bad, man. I feel bad because that type of power and an extra free shot.
I know
that changed your career right there. I mean,
ask Travis Brown.
Yeah, I want people to remember back in this conversation. If Blaydes doesn't ever look the same after this,
well,
you need to start.
That could be from the knockout blow that actually knocked him out. It could be from the other two, but it could definitely just be from the knockout.
Just blow. From the third one. Could be just from the third one too.
Exactly.
Oh, poor guy, man. Because he looked freaking awesome up until that moment. He was looking good. Oh, man. Good fight, though. Good stuff. I like Derrick Lewis. Curtis Blaydes, I'm wishing you the best, man. I want to see him come back. All right, guys, go to mybookie.ag. You guys can also use mybookie.com. It'll take you back all to the same place. And use the promo code weighing in. We appreciate you guys, and hopefully you guys use that and enjoy the gambling side. They do everything: football, baseball, basketball, everything.
Everything you can think of, all kinds of good stuff. And there was some good boxing that would happen last night. Did you see that?
I didn't get to. I was driving in the car.
We won't talk about it. But you could have bet on my bookie on that boxing, and you would have had a new champion.
Who fought last night?
Oh, I don't want to say it was Valdez. Is the guy. Against, I can't say it. It starts with a B. Yeah.
All right. I called you out on it. 3 under the bus.
Screw it up. Threw under the bus. It's Valdez versus Benil, I want to say, but gotcha. I'm screwing that last one up.
All right, so we have Usman.
It was in Vegas also.
Oh,
man. Usman.
Things are opening up, man.
George.
Usman versus George. Full camp. Can he win? Look, I'm hearing already.
Of course he can win.
Yeah, of course he can win. Anyone can win. But let's have this conversation. The conversation needs to be had that Usman says anyone can get it. Then he says, I'm feeling generous. Anyone can get it. And then a couple days later, I changed my mind. Not feeling so generous anymore. So it's like, it's a little weird on what's going on.
No, I kind of like that.
George comes out and says, see, once we said yes, told you he's a coward, or he'll run, he'll do this. He don't really want this fight. Well played on George's part.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I'm not about to say that Usman is afraid of him. That's for sure not. But I mean, do you think that something else was presented to Usman that made it a little bit more appealing? A different fight?
I think money could always change Kamaru or any fighter's mind as far as, hey, what about this fight? And this is, of course,
who's another money fight though over him?
Well, I think you could take a look straight away and say Colby Covington in a rematch is a definite.
More than George is more of a money fight than George.
I would say that it's I would think because the first one was better.
I'm going to tell you who's the number. I'm going to tell you who the money fight is.
Let's hear it.
Nick Diaz.
Oh yeah,
it's the money fight. That's the only thing in my mind that makes me think that if they're not going to do the George fight, it's Nick Diaz.
Remember the speculation that Colby was going to fight Edwards, and then that didn't happen. So there's a reason Colby's not in this fight against Leon Edwards.
Maybe.
Yeah, but Belal Muhammad stepped up and took that Leon Edwards fight. That's after taking a lot of damn nasty leg kicks and that calf kick from Diego Lima, which he ate all of them and did not let it affect him. I'll give it to him. I like Belal Muhammad. I think he is just a hell of a fighter. Tough dude. The pressure that he created in that fight against Diego Lima was the difference maker in that fight. He pushed Diego to the point Diego, that all that pressure exhausted him. It's going to be almost the same type of game plan, I believe, for Belal Muhammad. The question is, does that game plan work the same way against a Leon Edwards as it did against Diego?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so either. I think you got to throw some change up in there.
We're going to see if there's any ring rust from Leon Edwards, but I'm going to tell you right now, man, that speed, you go rushing in like that with that speed, you're going to walk right into something big. Yeah. You know, whether it's a right hand, whether it's big slams or takedowns, because Leon's grappling has gotten phenomenal. His wrestling has gotten phenomenal. And I want to see what he looks like coming into this fight, knowing that he's had so much time off. That first round's going to be a little bit of an adrenaline dump, probably getting back in there after all this time. But I think his experience and his time away and his probably all rested up. I think he's going to be ready to go. He's going to be amped up and ready to go. When you've had this amount of time off, I went through this little phase myself with some injuries. You know, I just won the title, beat Gil, fought one time after that. And then there was like 18 months, Gil and I were supposed to fight again. And I ended up breaking my ankle and was out for a long time. And I broke it again and broke it again, anyways, over and over. But when I came back,
it's because you're fragile.
I was so amped up. Yes, I am. Just stamped a snowflake on me. Yeah, it was. No, I was just so amped up in that second fight that we had. It was a huge adrenaline.
That while you were fighting, you decided, I'm having so much fun, I won't fight smart.
No, exactly.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
But I don't think Leon's going to do that. But I could see like the excitement is there. Like you want to fight. You know you're so close to being. At the time, I was the champion, but for him, he's like so close to being the champion, or so close to at least fighting for the title, and knowing that you're right there. We may see a little bit of that adrenaline dump. You know, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see him fight. I think that I want to see if he jumps right back on. Right after the first round, he jumps back on to who he was before this whole thing happened.
Yeah, well, the question for me is, first off, Belal Muhammad is an outstanding wrestler. His wrestling is really good. Way better than Leon's. Mm-hmm. Leon's going to have to do it for a lot longer to match up. Now, he can do things that can stop what Belal does, but the stand-up, Leon Edwards is a better stand-up fighter. So this really is going to be that equation of, can Belal slow down the striking ability of Leon by getting him to the ground? Get him to the ground, he's got a chance. I love the fact that he stepped up to take the fight, and I love the fact that Leon said, you know what? I'll take that fight. I want to fight. He's done with, put it off to another date. He's had too many, and if he was willing to fight the guy that was number 15, he's willing to fight now Belal. I think it's a good fight for him to come into, and I think it's an outstanding opportunity for Belal Muhammad to say, hey, here I am, man. Let's see. Because he believes in himself, and he's been fighting really well. So this will be fun. I think it's a good fight. It's a good matchup for both.
Yeah, there was a little miscommunication, I think, in last week's show. People thought I was saying that he was ducking Stephen Thompson, all this. No, that's not what I was saying. What I was saying is I wanted to see that fight happen. And if they were gonna force this fight, I knew Stephen couldn't fight right now because he's coming off that injury, but he can fight here shortly. Remember, he was on our show recently.
He told us that he could, I can step this up and I can take a fight.
Yeah, he said basically exactly what he said. And so if they were willing to, look, they've already postponed his fight a bunch of times. If they were going to postpone it another month, Steven could be ready within a month. He said, I'm always training. I'm always ready. I'm in shape. He's like, just give me a little bit more time to actually prepare, and he'd be ready to go. So in my mind, I wasn't thinking that he was ducking him. I was just simply saying, if you're not going to have him fight on the same card as that Leon was supposed to schedule to fight on, then bump it another month and Stephen Thompson will be ready. That made sense. That's what I was getting at. Not that either one guy, that Leon was trying to duck him. No, absolutely not. So
That's okay because my wife asked me, she goes, hey, do you not like Stipe Miocic? Right? And I go, what? Right? She goes, someone on here says that you're a Stipe hater. I go, they said I was a Stipe hater?
You're talking about Josh Thompson.
Obviously, they have not been listening to my podcast. I said, I was the guy. I said, when Stipe is fighting Dan, I was always the guy, arguing with Josh back and forth. I said, no, I love Stipe. Why? She goes, oh, someone on here says you don't like. Okay.
No, they're probably talking about Josh. They're probably talking about Josh Thompson.
Some people say they like Josh in the comments, so people on there are clueless.
Yeah, right. So I like Stipe. I do like him a lot. I don't like him when he fights DC.
How could you not? Yeah, well, that I can understand.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's okay.
Good stuff. I'm excited for the Belal Muhammad and Leon Edwards fight. That's in 2 weeks, correct?
Yeah.
That's in 2 weeks.
That's a good
March 13th.
March 13th. Good stuff. It's back to Kamaru Usman and Masvidal. I mean, I don't know if that fight's going to end up being the two tough coaches. Usman's coming out saying like, I've changed my mind. I'm not being generous. So that kind of leaves us all up in the air. But if you're talking, there is a big money fight to be had. I think it'd be insert Nick Diaz. That's the only big money fight that I think would outweigh Masvidal or a Colby Covington fight rematch.
Pretty good call. Good call, Josh.
So if that happened, then
look at the big brain on.
I'd like to see it happen, though. I'd like to see it happen.
But that
come on! You gotta. All right, I know.
Well, give me Colby.
I love Nick.
Colby and Usman, and then give me George and Nick.
Who has always been the style of fighter that Nick hates?
Wrestlers.
Let me just show you Kamaru Usman.
Yeah. Yep.
And coming off of, he hasn't fought since January 31st of 2016. 15. Jesus, I was a year off.
Yeah.
It's like I just don't see it, man.
Let me see. Let's just change it up. Let's go Colby and Usman, and let's go George and Nick.
I'm okay with that.
Tell me. That's and then Nate just lost to George. Now you have big brother Nick coming in to save the day. Let's go.
That's exactly why. You got that whole BMF thing going, and Nate lost him. Well, here comes Nick. I like that. I think that is something you can make something, exciting with.
Huge.
And I think that the Colby Kamaru Usman is the right rematch. It was a great fight.
Yeah, it was.
It was a great fight, and Colby was in that fight. It was the 5th round was the big difference maker. And if I know Colby was upset with the stoppage, he has no right to be. It was a beautiful stoppage by Mark Goddard, but he was upset. He was still going to lose. You were going to lose that fight. That was already proved by the scorecards were known. So really, Mark Goddard did you a favor, but he was in that fight.
Yeah.
He was, and it was a really good fight. Could it change? It definitely could. I think Colby is just he's a tough dude. You may not like him, but man, he's tough. When he fights, he fights. And I think his style and Kamaru's style, it matches up well. At least it matched up the first time really well.
I want to see them wrestle a little bit, though. Jeez,
No, I don't.
No,
that's the last thing I want to see. I want to see him knock the shit out of each other.
Oh, tell us how you really feel, John.
I know, it's horrible.
It's great. I love it. All right. There's something else we were gonna chat on. Dave's dinking around with his pencil and paper over there.
Pencils, papers.
We're gonna touch a little bit on the Rosenstruck and Cyril Gane fight. Athleticism versus power.
And Rosenstruck's got power. Biggie Boy.
Biggie Boy.
I like Biggie Boy.
That's a cool name.
It's a great nickname.
That's a cool name.
He's got that one against Ngannou, and I just look and go, hey, dude, Francis Ngannou can put anyone's lights out.
Yeah.
Just that he's got that power. Rosenstruck he's had some good fights. His fight against Alistair, I think he kind of lucked out.
Yeah, he did.
In the fact that Murgalata stopped that fight where he did because Alistair wasn't out. He had an ugly looking lip with 10 seconds to go in the fight, and he was coming back towards Rosenstruck. So you look at the stoppage, you go, but I really like Cyril Gane. I think I've seen him do submissions to get wins. He had the fight with Junior. I know Junior was all upset with, saying he hit him to the back of the head. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. He shouldn't have been running away.
Yeah, exactly. If you're using the the fighting method of flea,
Yeah.
probably not a good fight for you at that time.
Yeah.
And I love Junior, but that was not a bad, Cyril Gane didn't do anything wrong.
No, I agree. He didn't do anything wrong. I disagree with you on the Overeem and Rosenstruck stoppage. I thought Overeem was out. He was just
Definitely not.
Sitting there with his back.
Dave,
John, you want to be wrong twice in one day, buddy? You want to be wrong twice in one day? John, you want to be wrong twice in one day?
I'm coming back. I'm coming back. If there's one thing you learn, you're gonna fail a lot.
You are.
You know what?
You are a comeback king.
Keep getting back up, you're gonna win.
Fall down 100.
This one right here?
Fall down 100 times, get up 101. Yes.
No, that's Francis Ngannou.
Oh, that's You want Alistair Overeem and Rosenstruck.
Alistair Overeem against Rosenstruck. The last 10 seconds.
He was on his butt against the fence.
Yes.
Just completely lost.
No, moving towards. Watch what he does. Come on. Here we go. He's backing up. Rosenstruck comes after him, hits him with a big right hand. Look at it. Oh, no. Look what he's doing.
Look, he can't even walk. He's done.
Oh, no. Dude.
That's out.
There's
he just
only
saved his life.
There's 3 seconds left in the fight.
The ref just saved his life.
No.
That's all he did. No. Boom.
No.
Dude,
yeah, that's a nice one. Look,
body
he's getting
went
up.
limp.
Oh, you're so wrong. He's in a position. What do you mean he's not? Dave, did you see him get up?
The ref stopped. Yeah,
did he get to his feet?
He got up and he fell over almost. It's the fence saved him.
There's been a lot of those.
The fence. Watch the fence save him right here. Boom. Boom. He's out. The fence saved him there. Watch the
after winning
the ref and the fence saved him again.
Everything. No.
John,
he won every moment of that fight for 5 rounds.
Dave, chalk this up. That's 2 times in one day. John's been wrong. 2 times.
Dave, let me ask you a question. As a person that is sitting there,
he watches WWE. You're asking a WWE fan. You just lost all credibility in one moment.
I didn't lose any credibility. I got podcast
done.
Dave. Is he getting up?
No, he's getting up. No, he's out.
He's getting up.
You know what? You need to shut up.
Gets up to his feet.
He's going for a clothesline.
I'm going to steal a page out of Joe Rogan's book. You shut your whore mouth over there, buddy. Oh, man. Oh, he's out, John. He is out. His body is limp when he hits the ground.
No, his hands are right to the ground getting his body up.
First off,
have you ever watched a fight in your life?
Nobody leans.
Have you ever watched a fight?
Well, first off, John, you shouldn't lean forward trying to get up against the fence. That's one thing. Second is the ref and the fence
but when
hold
your
him
opponent's
up.
Walking away from you,
because he already knew he was out. He's not a Derrick Lewis, bro. If he was Derrick Lewis, he would have got hit 4 more times after that. Oh man, I thought it was a good stoppage.
John, I'll put a poll on our Instagram. So if
put a poll.
If you're listening or watching, go on IG right now. I've got a poll with us back and forth.
Take a look at the time, knowing that this fight has got 5 seconds left.
Whoa! We don't allow time to interfere with the decisions of the fighter's safety, John. We cannot allow time.
Who not only won the first round, he won the second round, he won the third round, he won the 4th round. And he actually won 4 minutes and 50 seconds of the 5th round.
You cannot allow time to dictate. You cannot allow time to dictate the safety of a fighter.
You cannot do not stop a fight with that time left. If you've got a guy that is
the same could have been said.
Take everything into consideration.
No,
he's not out.
John,
if he was out, you stop the fight.
The same could have been said for Carlos Condit and Roy McDonald when they fought. You had to stop that fight. That fight had to be stopped.
I'm trying to remember that one. Hold on.
Roy McDonald won
Roy McDonald.
Yep. Roy McDonald was winning that fight, and he got finished with like 10 seconds left, less than 10 seconds left in that fight. And he was winning that fight up until that moment.
Oh, you're talking about the very first
Did they fight twice?
I remember. No, that was Rory's fight in
Rory's
Vancouver.
very first fight against, his first fight against Carlos Condit.
Second fight in the UFC.
Second fight in the UFC, yeah. That was one of those fights. You've got to stop that fight. The fighter's safety is more important than the time on the clock. I'm sorry, John. Let me educate you, John. Today is not your day. Today is not your day.
Oh, it absolutely is. Rory did not win all of that fight.
But he was winning that fight, though.
Rory was losing that 3rd round badly.
Yes, he was. He was.
Okay, and
that was before the 10-8 round. That was before the 10-8 rounds
Alistair Overeem
given out
won
like candy.
Every fucking round and then was winning the 5th round all 4 minutes and 50 seconds.
John, I want to hear you say you were wrong today. And
he's not out. Not at all, dude. He's getting up, like I said. He was getting up.
Rory McDonald was winning this fight. Rory McDonald was in this fight, And you had to stop the fight because even though there was 10 seconds left, had he just skimmed through the last 10 seconds, he would have won the fight. Same thing goes. Alistair won all of it. You cannot let time dictate the safety of the fighters.
Against me.
I know. I love it. You've told that to me before. That's why I keep throwing it out there.
You don't let time affect it, but
yes.
When a guy's getting up, no, let him
No,
go.
he was not.
He was getting up. You're a liar. Take a look at it again.
He was out, John, when he hit the ground.
Christ.
He was
All right,
out when he hit the ground.
Lying now.
His head hit off the cage and it woke him back up. His head hit off the cage.
All the time.
Boom, boom.
You know
he's out.
Fights?
John, his body
Dude,
goes
he's getting
limp.
right up. Look at that. How is he out if he's boom? He hits the ground and is getting up.
He's you guys
play that.
If
full speed. I don't want slow motion.
Everybody that
play it full.
I want everybody at home.
You're gonna see.
If you guys
real time.
If you guys
real time.
accept John in this, what is this thing you're doing, Dave?
Boom.
This
he's
poll.
Getting up. Oh,
if you guys accept
his butt
John's,
wasn't even on the ground for a full second.
If you guys at home accept John's plea here that he was getting up and that the fight wasn't over, okay? You guys,
fight was not.
I never want to hear any of you guys ever plea for fighter safety ever again. you guys don't care about fighters at all. He was out.
Definitely not.
His
out.
body went limp, and the cage is what saved him from falling over the edge.
Butt's on the ground, and he's already up.
Up and leaning against the fence, stumbling over.
He was able to get. How many times have you seen a guy hit, knocked down, stumbles, and comes back in the fight and wins?
Rosenstruck saved his life by not hitting him again.
Rosenstruck handed a win. No, and that's okay.
He won that fight. All right, guys, we're done with that rant. That was great.
So let me get it straight. So the takeaway from this is Dan Murgliargo sucks.
No, Dan Murgliargo saved his life. Saved Overeem's life.
Sounded like that's what John was saying.
All right. There was one more thing on there that we were supposed to talk about.
So Bellator announced this week that they're doing rankings.
Yep. We had talked about this last month. We said that they were supposed to have them out at the end of January. We got them into February. Good to know that they should be getting them here all together here shortly, I believe, which is good. Perfect timing for the 3 fight cards we have coming up in April, and then moving on from there into 2 shows a month for the rest of the year. I'm amped up.
What do you think about the people that are making those rankings?
I heard it was 15 people from the press.
That's 15
That's all I heard. Are we part of the press now?
No,
that's a bunch of BS.
Definitely not part of the press.
Well, I mean,
I understand. I don't think that you and I should be of
this is true.
Consideration in ranking those people. We got to talk about them. No, I think it should be people on the outside. But
I don't know.
I'm not sure that I would always pick 15 members of the press.
No.
I think I might pick some former fighters.
Yeah.
Or trainers.
Yeah.
Or somebody else.
Yeah. Why do we know why we went with the press? People that have never fought.
Because they're easy. Exactly.
You know, I don't understand that.
Is it a top 10 or a top 15 they'll do?
I don't know. I don't know.
10.
I would imagine it's top 10. We don't have 600 fighters on our roster, so it's probably better we do a top 10. Just to be honest, like you said, we've got a lot of great guys, but the depth just isn't there because they've only got about 300 fighters on their roster. I don't know. There's a lot. I've noticed it in all these top 5 rankings that they have, or whatever it is. Like, see, they've got. Go back to there. They've got Gallagher, Pettis, Mix, Stotts, Hill.
Yep.
And then obviously Juan.
So how would you rank them? Let's go.
How would I rank them?
Yeah, right now. Come on.
I would rank them. Juan's champ, obviously, but then I would go Mix.
Well, that's why he's not in this.
Okay, I would go Mix. I'd go Mix.
Negative.
Oh, I go Mix over.
Okay.
Yeah, all Mix. Right. I go Mix. Mix, Hill, Stotts, Pettis, Gallagher.
Wow. Okay.
And I think Stotts and Pettis are interchangeable. They train together, so it's hard.
Yes, they do.
So realistically, they're never going to fight, which is a shitty, at least unless it's for the title, I would imagine. I don't know if they ever talk about that at their gym. But how would you mix them? No pun intended.
I would put Sergio Pettis as number 1. I would put Mix as number 2.
He's fighting for the title.
Stotts is number 3. Hill is number 4, and Gallagher's number 5.
Yeah, see, I think Mix beats Pettis. That's why I put Mix ahead of him. And I understand why number 1. Pettis should be number 1 right now because Mix just lost, but Pettis is. You lost in 2 major decisions today.
I'm very impressed.
And now you're trying to pat yourself on the back for some fake rankings right
now. Getting some common sense in your thinking. Okay, the common sense is coming through. Go ahead,
John. Before you leave today, I want you to make sure you admit you were wrong twice.
I was not wrong.
If these people vote that I was right, then what? Are you going to come on the next show on Wednesday and say, you know what, Josh, you were right?
I will come on the show.
You will concede,
and I will say, Josh, not only are you crazy, but so are all the people that are listening.
Well played, my friend. Well played.
I like it.
I love it. Who do you got here? You got McFarlane, Killholtz, Carmouche, Lara, and Bohm.
Well, I still would say that you got to go with Alimale as number 1 just because she was the champ. That was her only defeat. So I'm going to put her number 1. I would put Liz Carmouche number 2. I would put Denise Kielholtz number 3. I would put Alejandra Lara number 4 and Bohm 5.
Really? I'd put Lara over Kielholtz, but I'd probably keep it the way you had it. Only because Lara has looked really good as of lately. Like she's gotten a lot better, not just on the feet, but her grappling and her wrestling and everything in the transitions to get there. I think that she has progressed a lot more.
She has, but I'm looking at Kielholtz, who was a world champion kickboxer with a 47-3 record, I want to say, in kickboxing, who has now submitted her last couple opponents. I don't think she submitted her last one. That was against Kate Jackson, who I think she actually knocked out.
Yeah.
So, but she's been finishing people.
Yeah. I understand that. I do understand that. But I think no one's made Vito Ortega look the way that Laura did. She bloodied her up in that fight in Hawaii. And I was like, oof. And if you were to put Vito against Kielholtz, Vito would just make it a dirty, grimy fight against the fence and just
they already fought.
And Vito, what?
Guillotined her.
Vito guillotined her.
Yep. Second round, I want to say.
I think that's right. I think that fight happened, I think, when I first started working for Bellator. It was a while back. No. It was a while back.
You were working for him.
No, I think, but I don't know if I was under contract.
I don't think you were at that fight. Because that one was in that was in Boise, in fact.
Oh yeah, I wasn't there. That wasn't Boise. I wasn't there. I guess here's another question: where does Derek Anderson fit into all this?
Well, at 170 pounds, there's a lot of fights for him. I want to see him bring him back. I still would like to see him against some of the guys that are considered in the top of the 170s. Derek Anderson, he's a tough dude, man.
Yeah.
The Barbaric is just a stone fighter. He fights. I don't care who he's facing. He fights. And so I think he's going to be fun in that. There's a bunch of guys you could take and you could put him against guys that are, from his home state. Lorenzo Larkin would be a fun fight with Derek Anderson.
Yeah.
I look at, his ability. I'd like to see him with MVP. They had matched him up with MVP and then that fell through.
Did they match him up twice?
They matched him up with Paul Daly. That fell through.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been Derek having the problem. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's unfortunate on his behalf. I think it was just his birthday the other day is what I'm looking at right now. So happy birthday, Derek Anderson.
Happy birthday, Derek Anderson. You're getting old. Oh no, you're not.
I want to see him fight MVP, or I want to see Larkin and MVP fight and put Derek Anderson against Paul Daly. I'd like to see that. So the way that they kind of originally had it matched up was Larkin and MVP, as I would like to see that fight, and then Derek Anderson versus Paul Daly.
That's a good match.
Those are two really good fights in that division, and let the dust settle and see who ends up on top. But then remember, we have Tokov in there, I believe, at 170, correct?
No, Tokov is 185, but you've got Amazov, you got Storley, you got a lot of people at 170 now that you can look 85. At.
Yeah. And I would imagine Tokov's probably going to be next for Gegard. I thought Gegard was going to be in the tournament. And since he's not in the tournament, you've got to think.
Tokov's got to be his opponent.
Yeah, you've got to think it's going to be Tokov. He looks phenomenal. I think that might be. Oh wait, there's one other thing. Go back to the news there.
No.
Oh yes, there was the one news. No, the news that you had pulled up. Yeah, scroll. I think was it up or down? Can you go? Is that the top?
Yeah.
He was getting up, Josh. He was. Oh, never mind.
You're killing me. Scroll down more. Down more. Yeah.
Wasn't
I was trying to remember where.
It.
Yeah, you were flipped through it, and I saw something I wanted to talk about. Dun, dun, dun. What's this right here?
Dun, dun, dun.
Sorry, guys. I lost something in this whole thing. Oh, Gilbert Burns. And Gilbert Burns has been calling out Colby Covington.
Oh, that's right. That was at the very top. You were looking right at it.
No, where? Oh, it's off to the right. It was where the Eubanks was.
Oh, okay.
That's why it was the bigger portion. Yeah, to me, we talked about after Burns had fought, this was the fight to make. If you're Burns, that's the fight that you want, because I think his stand up is a little bit better, and his jiu-jitsu will definitely nullify some of that wrestling, I believe. I don't know if Burns will be able to keep the pace though for the full 5 rounds.
Not if he burns himself like he did in that
no pun intended.
Fight.
No pun intended.
Well, yeah, it's true.
No burns himself. Anyways,
burns himself out. He's like, we know he's talented. He's got the ability he's got the ability to fight with anybody in the 170-pound class. But he's got to be composed. Yeah. And I think he would be against Colby, and I think it would be a good matchup. But I still think that Colby and Usman is the fight. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something, and then maybe that we'll see if Nick comes back. I'm cheering for Nick. Let's go, Nick. Nick and George, baby. I'm telling you. I think that fight gets up there in the records. We're talking record pay-per-views.
I think it's one you can create so many different angles on. It's got its own storyline already. It matches up well. It's 2 guys that have never competed against each other, and they've been in the same organizations at times. Yeah. And it would be fun. I think with the BMF title, I think George should put it up on the line again, and it would make it something that people would get behind. It'd be fun.
I'd like to see that. All right, guys. Well, hey, I want to thank you guys for joining this show, the Weighing In podcast. And also, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and the little bell off to the right. That'll give you guys the notifications, let you guys know when we drop. We dropped this one a little bit later today because I was visiting family up in North Idaho. Got to see my
late again.
Yeah, I know, late again. Usually it's Dave this late.
Oh, God.
But I got to go up there, see Trevor Prengley, one of my best friends up there, and his new
How's he doing?
Beautiful new gym and facility. Absolutely amazing. He's got like almost 300 something students. Crazy. I want to say he had like 40 or 50 people on the mat when I showed up there, like Thursday night at 6 p.m. or whatever. Packed. Amazing facility. Great new big huge warehouse, and it was good. It was good to see like he had some people on the other side too with the kids program, and another location up top with the kids program, and then a full like CrossFit area. I was like, wow, it's very impressive. Nice little area he's got set up, and moved out of this old like storefront place into a big warehouse, so it looks a lot better, a lot more space, a lot more room, kids running around everywhere. It's awesome to see. I'm happy, and because like him, from the gym business, he's like, a year ago, he's like, I just lost all motivation. He's like, I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. He's like, I was getting ready to get rid of it. He's like, but then honestly, he's like, when COVID hit, and we were able to still kind of like stay open, he's like, they kind of were able to, they closed them for like a week or 2 and then they opened back up. He's like, we just took off. He's like, everyone just started trying to do jiu-jitsu, trying to do things, trying to be active. I was like, wow, that's impressive. So
good for you, Trevor.
I'm glad. I'm happy for him. So,
yep.
There's that. But got to see my grandmother. We didn't get to hug or anything like that. But she got the both vaccines. But on the way down, I got a little upset in hearing that just because you have the vaccine doesn't mean you still can't transmit it or get it. I'm like, so what does that mean? What is the point? I'm reading all the articles and it's saying that it still can be transmitted to you or from you.
Yeah, because it's like 95%, 94.7 or something like that.
I'm like, this is crazy. Anyways, but we got a chance. I got a chance to see her, and I hadn't seen her in almost a year and a half, so it was nice. And but it was good. She's her chipper old self, 94 years old, almost 95, and it was weird. It's first time I think in my whole life I've never seen her without her hair done because all the hair salons are, So she's just like, yeah. Anyways,
older ladies, that's an important thing.
It's very important.
I know.
It's very important. So, so go ahead and hit that thumbs up, share it, like the video, as well as hit the little bell so that gives you notifications on when our shows drop. So we appreciate you guys. We thank you for tuning in and share our videos to everybody else. Post it up on the thing on the Twitter and all your Instagrams, and then tag us as well so we can also share it as well. We thank you guys for following us. And John, you got anything?
We do thank you for following us, and we are sorry that the podcast came out just a little bit late. So in the comments, just say, Josh, never again. So we will talk to you guys later. See ya.